Hello!
Welcome back.
I'm Kylie.
I'm Jamie.
And we're here today to talk to you
About history, because it's Historia.
Yes, it is Historia. Congrats. You made it. Okay. So hope you all are doing well. We have a lighter topic today.
Yeah.
Yay. Okay, good.
I would say so. I mean, it's more interesting. It's following my summer of places to go to.
Yeah, because we only did like 2 of them.
I know. I felt so well. It was so much later in like the summer that I started it. So I'm like, oh, next year
well, then we also did Barbenheimer and
yeah.
Titanic redo. So yeah,
it is what it is. But I decided, oh, why not end summer with a bang on a good, interesting place.
Mm-hmm. Okay, cool.
So
I'm excited. I love when we do places.
Yes.
It's always fun.
I always have fun doing places.
Okay, yeah, let's dive in.
All right. So the one that I am discussing today, I have seen this place I'm talking about visually so many times, and I had no idea what it was called.
Okay.
Until I just looked up places that would be fun to visit to, like top 10, whatever. And this one came up and I was like, oh, cool. So known as one of the most important archaeological sites in Southeast Asia and being one of the biggest religious structures in the world, this week I am going to be covering Angkor Wat.
Huh?
You never heard of it?
No.
Angkor Wat?
No.
Oh.
How have I never heard? Is it popular?
Yeah.
Maybe if I saw a picture.
Oh, 100%. Like, okay,
yeah, look it up.
I'm gonna show you a picture.
I don't even know how to spell this.
I think I actually have a picture.
I've never heard of this before.
Really?
I feel so uneducated. But that's why I'm about to get educated. Oh, so it's like pointy mountains. Oh, those aren't mountains.
No, they're temples.
Oh, okay.
This is all structures.
Whoa, that's really pretty.
Right?
Oh my god, I'm into this already.
I know.
Thanks for the picture, because now I can picture it. Otherwise, I've been like, that's so pretty. The way it reflects with the water. Oh my god. Okay.
Sunset.
I already want to visit, and I know nothing about it, so this is exciting.
It's gorgeous.
I just need to go to Asia.
I'm going to talk about this with the sun.
Okay.
Very common.
Whoa, it's pointing right at the sun. What the fuck?
Yeah. So
what is this called again?
Angkor Wat.
Angkor Wat. Okay.
I think I'm pronouncing that correctly.
How do you spell it?
Angkorwat.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
You ready?
I feel like I've seen the spelling now that you've said it.
Yeah.
Maybe I just had no idea how it was pronounced. So I usually just go Angkor.
Angkor Wat.
Okay. This is so exciting. Let's do it.
So now that you know what it looks like, you're like, okay, this is interesting.
Yes.
So before going into this week's discussion, I want to go over where I got my information, of course. So I got some from intocambodia.org. This was a huge help, as well as the UNESCO website, which I've used several times on other wonders of the world. I looked at Harvard case studies on their website and then thoughtco.com for a timeline of pretty much leading up to. So before we get into the structure, let's start from the beginning. It is 802 CE and King Yahavarman II has been crowned king. This guy is important as during his reign, he discovers the kingdom of Angkor. This becomes an important location, if you're not aware. If you are not sure, the location that we are discussing, Angkor, is in Cambodia, the Siem Reap area. It is located in the northwestern provinces of Cambodia.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to be honest. I thought for the longest time, Cambodia was in South America. But then I took my South America class and I was like, where's Cambodia? And one of my classmates was like, that's not in South America. I was like, where the fuck is it then? And they're like, it's in Asia. And I was like, oh my God.
Geography's hard.
Geography is hard. But now I know. I'm educated. I educated myself because I
Just
had
like
no
I'm
idea.
doing. I didn't even hear of this place, so there's that. I've heard of Cambodia, don't worry.
Okay, I was like,
yeah, no.
wait.
I've heard of that one. I just haven't heard of this one.
But so I found that very interesting. And knowing that this place, I didn't know that this place was in Cambodia, which I think is a really cool place for it to have, like, bring tourists in too, for that, to give their economy a boost.
Yeah.
So from this point on, a lot of buildings started to be continued during the time that the 802, when the kingdom, or Angkor, started to be developed. A lot of buildings started to be aware. So the main one that you see, like, in those pictures is not the first one that was built. There's, like, this area is massive, as I'll get into. So in 899, Yasovarman I established the capital of where the site is held now, and naming it Yasodharapura. Now, this would not stay the capital, as it would be changed to Lingapura by Yasovarman IV in 928. Now, during the period between the founding of Angkor Kingdom and when the Angkor Wat was designed, many of the temples that you see today were built.
Okay.
So, in 877, the construction began of the Priya Ko and the Bakhong temples. In 889, the Lole Temple and the Indra Tataka and Eastern Beret reservoirs were also built. So, this is all man-made. Like, these reservoirs, canals, and stuff, that they're all man-made, which is so intense for like this time period. And they were built along the and then so these reservoirs were built along the Phnom, I think it's Thon Baken Temple. God, I wish I learned more languages as a kid.
It's a lot of pronunciations.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
So in 944, the eastern Mabon and Pre-Rub areas were also constructed. In 967, the delicate Bante Sri temple was built. In 1002, the western Beret would start to be constructed. Now, this was not finished until, so this was like a reservoir or like a canal that they started to build. It would not be finished until 1060.
Oh, wow.
It took 58 years for this place to be built.
Dang.
For that to be built. Now, the man who focused on building this massive site was ruler Suri Avarman II, who started his rule in 1113. Now, during this time, the kingdom would fall under the Khmer Empire, which was a huge cultural and political significance for Cambodia's history. Now, this Khmer Empire, I hope I'm saying it right. Hold on. I did a thing.
Oh, you're prepared.
Khmer.
Khmer. I love when we do these pronunciation things.
I wanted to make sure because I felt really bad, and I'm like,
Well, and when you have to say it so much, it's like...
Exactly. So, Khmer. Okay. So, the Khmer Empire, it would pretty much hit like its peak from 800 CE to 1430. So, it was around for quite a while. So, Angkor Wat was originally built as a structure for the Hindu faith.
Oh, yay! Okay.
Yeah. So Suryavarman II was a Hindu follower and wanted a temple to reflect that. He was very religious, and he wanted his love for his faith to be represented through structures, architecture, which you see that all over the world for everybody. So Angkor means city, whereas Wat means temple. So Angkor Wat means city temple.
Okay. Mm-hmm. We're learning languages today.
Yes. So Angkor is like the city and the site where I'm talking about, but Angkor Wat is a temple.
Okay.
That is like the main big one that, like, when you walk in, like, there's a lot of reliefs and stuff like it, whereas like it's like your first thing that you see when you go in, and then you have the other temples like kind of behind it. So it's a whole site thing. It's wild. So Angkor is a city where we see the beautiful temples, but now with this site, it is so huge. It has 200 monuments, including hydraulic structures, temples, basins, reservoirs, and canals. Angkor is well over 400 square kilometers. This is a multiple day visit as the site is so massive and way too big to see in one day, even on bikes.
Wow.
Yeah, they sell because I briefly saw like the tickets and they had like multiple day passes. And they have like a whole thing of like places to stay while you visit the site that's like nearby. Just so like you don't have to go very far. But like if you want to really take in everything that this place has to offer, it's not a one day thing.
Wow.
Like if you want to be the basic bitch that gets that like one photo saying like, oh, I've been here, then you can do like a single pass. But if you really want to
go into the history
of it and just really appreciate the culture of it, then it's going to be a multiple day adventure.
From the picture, it didn't look that big. But I guess it's like deep. It goes like pretty deep.
It goes super deep like that.
But like if you just look at a picture, you're like, oh, okay, I could just look at that real quick.
And that's Angkor Wat. That's just that temple.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's true. Mm-hmm. Dang.
So that's not even the rest of the temples that this site has to offer.
That would be so cool to see.
It looks absolutely breathtaking.
I love this. Okay.
I love all the plant life. I do love a nice jungle.
This little tropical area.
Yeah. It looks gorgeous. So Angkor Temple was built for the Hindu god Vishnu. The galleries from inside the site have large significance to the Hindu culture, from the reliefs to the story of the 32 hells and the 37 heavens. There is also the churning of ocean milk, which this is also another story. These appear to be very interesting stories to the Hindu faith, and I would love to cover these.
Oh, yes.
In a mythology episode. I just...
Do that.
It's just seeing the artwork of these and just... It's so unique and different, and it's very colorful, and it's just... the creation stories that they've come up with, that the Hindu faith came up with, it's so fascinating to me that I'm really starting to appreciate more of like... Asia's culture and like what they have to offer.
So cool.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's one of those that's just not talked about a lot here in America.
It is not.
We just focus so much on like European. And so it's like, it's just cool to hear about all these places and, you know, see all these touristy spots you wouldn't think to go to.
Exactly. And it's just like, there's more to the world than just inside your bubble.
Yeah.
And that's one thing that like I'm trying to get myself to do, because when I was in college, the only class that I took that was like Asia related was my World War II class, when we talked about Japan and China. And I think that really kind of sparked an interest, because we dived so heavily into the war between the two. Yeah. That I was like, wow, there's more to this than I thought. Yeah. And then when we discussed the terracotta warriors, that was so much fun to research. I was just going wild. So I was like, wow, Asia really does have a lot of history that like we never were taught in grade school.
And they're very humble about it too. Yeah. And that's another thing, is like they don't brag. Yeah. So you're not going to find books on books about like these people talking about what they made. And it's a lot different than our culture.
Oh, 100%.
You know, our culture is very like proud, prideful, you know.
But the artwork is just absolutely beautiful, and how they've preserved it for so long. It's so fascinating. And just the fashion.
Oh, for sure.
It's so cool. Okay. Now that I've just gushed, I will move on. So the temple was also structured with more than brilliant reliefs and depictions of stories, but it also had very heavy significance to astronomy and cosmology. So a key feature that really attracts visitors each year is a sunrise over Angkor Wat. That one picture that you saw with that sunrise.
Yeah. Literally hitting the sun. I'll post that picture on our Instagram.
Yes. So because of where the temple is situated, the sun rises only over it during the spring equinox and the autumn equinox.
What?
2 times a year.
I bet they're booked on those days.
100%. It's so busy. Like you can even see in that picture, like a bunch of phones were like up in the air trying to take pictures of it, because it is.
Wow.
Yeah. So a lot of planning, math, and work into making this possible, as we understand that significant holds to what cultures, like old cultures, do when it comes to astronomy. Mm-hmm. Everything is like, especially with temples and just beautiful pyramids and stuff, these cultures really focus on the stars, the sun, the moon. Like, they focus so heavily on astronomy, and I love it. I'm terrified of space, but that's like my biggest fear. Space. But I just find that so cool how they just use that to their advantage and to make it so unique and put significance to their culture for that. Like, I love it. I'm here for it.
Me too. It's awesome.
Mm-hmm. So as Angkor Wat is being built, the Chams, a tribe from southern Vietnam, sacked the capital, so Angkor, and burnt part of the city. And Suryavarman II was killed in the process of the sacking. So, wow, that was devastating news. So our next king of the Khmer people was Yahavarman VII, who defeated the Chams and took back the capital. So he would work to build more onto the area of Angkor. He would go on to have built the Taphom, the Preah Khan, and establish Angkor Thom, which would become the new capital. So Angkor Wat was first established as a funerary temple for Vishnu, but over time this started to shift. After Yahavarman VII passed away in 1220, the site of Angkor Wat, or Angkor, started to dwindle. With the new capital now in Angkor Thom, Angkor Wat, like the temple, and then just the site in general, it started to be open to more enemies. So it wasn't really protected because people started to shift out of the city. So enemies were like, okay, well, this once was like a huge flourishing city that had like hundreds of thousands of people, or like a really big population. And so enemies would go in and start just ransacking what they could. So between the 1300s and the mid 1400s, Angkor would be continuously sacked by enemy tribes. And then eventually in 1431, Angkor would be abandoned as a city.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. The site, though, would not become fully abandoned, actually. In its place, new people decided to move in. At this time in the area, a new faith was being practiced, better known as Buddhism. Monks found Angkor Wat to be the perfect location to establish their Buddhist temple.
Nice.
They're like, heck yeah, this place is amazing. It's nice and quiet. It's away from everybody.
Oh yeah, peaceful,
super
serenity.
Chill. Yeah, and it was beautiful too. So over the next 400 years, Angkor Wat stood as a Buddhist temple, and over time the structures started to show their wear and time. As monks were in these temples, they did not so much as keep up to date with the latest, I guess, keeping the building structures well kept up. It wasn't until the 1800s that a huge shift would be brought onto the site. Can you guess what caused this distance or this disturbance?
What?
Colonists.
Oh God, of course. They always be doing that shit.
So if you guess colonists, you are right.
my brain went,
kudos.
Got nothing. Crickets.
So the good old Frenchies are the ones who stumbled upon this
site. I should have known it's French.
And seeing his beauty, they knew that they had to get their hands on it. They were itching for it.
Of course. Are we surprised?
Nope. So in the 1840s, French explorer Henry Mouhot would be the first one to come across the site. In this time, Henry was looking into the Mekong River's tributaries, and along the way, he would come across Angkor. So he got along pretty well with the tribes and eventually stumbled upon this site, the temple, and he was like, holy shit. He was amazed at how beautiful and unique the site was, and would take notes of the site and what he found, and he spent quite a bit of time there. But poor guy would later on die of jungle fever in 1861.
Oh, okay.
That is a tough way to die.
Yeah.
Very tough. But because he stumbled upon the site and told the French, they knew that they had to see what this was all about. Because if you're making drawings and telling stories of how unique and interesting this place is and like the history that they told him, yeah, of course they're gonna be like, oh. But let's be honest, the French were only interested so they could say it was another location they owned from the British.
Yup.
Their rivalry was so ridiculous.
So ridiculous.
So petty.
Yeah. It's like two siblings fighting.
Literally. For attention from Mommy Dearest.
Mommy Dearest. Yep.
So upon arrival to Angkor Wat, the location changed exterior-wise because of the times. The relief on the Hindu reliefs were still there, but now they included the arts of the Buddhist belief. So they had tapestries, statues, brick stupas, and they were all added to the temple, making it unique for the Buddhists. Like they had beautiful flowers hung for it, and they had like the statues of Buddha, and just they made it their own. They really just brought in both. Like they didn't destroy anything of the Hindu faith. They kind of just welcomed it and started adding to it of their belief. But French archaeologists at the time saw the Buddhist entrance into the temple as destroying the ancient significance of the site and decided to push them aside to remove that part of history of Angkor Wat. So they came in, they saw, they're like, okay, so from how it was built, you just added stuff. Like, no, we're not cool with that. That's not like, we're archaeologists. We're trying to preserve.
We're professionals.
Even though you've been here for 400 years.
Ew. Oh, I hate it.
Yeah, I see that they wanted to help, but they weren't helping in any good way possible.
No, just selfish.
Yeah, very selfish. But
that's history sometimes.
Yep. So the beautiful art, statues, all they could of the Buddha's print would be removed from the complex. This would go on for a while until they believed that it was back into its original state. It wasn't until 1953 that we see Cambodia's independence as a relief to be able to set the site to what it once was under the Buddhist following.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but it didn't take until 1953.
Yeah, that is sad, but at least there's that, you know?
Exactly. So as of today, more and more of the Buddhism culture is being brought back into the life of Angkor Wat. Okay. So they're really introducing more of like the statues, or bringing the tapestries, a lot of the art back into there.
I want to go so bad now.
So fast forward, since stumbling upon the site, archaeologists have been captivated to know more about it and want to protect it at all costs, especially with the visual deterioration it has started to develop, because it's literally like in the jungle. So that plant life grows so rapidly and so just lusciously that when you have just a whole building made out of stone, it's going to wear over time, especially when you're not upkeeping it with just like new technology or just new things to make sure that these structures are staying together.
Yeah.
Because they kind of just left it and let nature take its course, which is like cool. But like when it comes to like the actual structure of it, you want to take those extra precautions to make sure, well, at least we have to do something to make sure that this site is still here in like another 200, 300 years. So in December 1992, the Angkor Wat and the other temples on the site were labeled under the protection and labeled as a UNESCO World Heritage Site. I tried to see if it was like a new wonder of the world, but it's not. It's just a protected site. So it's a World Heritage Site.
Okay.
So the following year, the ICC Angkor, also known as the International Coordinating Committee, came into the picture. Here they took the precautions and organizations to provide scientific restoration of the important projects and the property itself to be cared for. So they really were taking the extra effort to restore this site to make sure it doesn't fall apart. So because of how rough of shape it was in, Angkor Wat was put on an endangered list of the sites. And they spent almost a decade restoring as much as they could.
Oh, wow.
It was taken off the list in 2004, though.
Okay.
So they did enough just excavating and restoring just to make sure that this place doesn't fall apart, that people can really experience it.
Good.
So a unique quality of this site is that there are people who lived in the area all the way back during the beginning of the Angkor kingdom. So there are actual villages that surround this site and like homes and stuff that people live in just like right outside the site. And they just live in these villages, and they have family that descended all the way to the first of the people that resided there. Like, this culture means so much to them.
Awesome.
And the site does too. So they take the environments, old traditions, and the culture of Angkor to heart. Like, they really, really respect their heritage, which I love. I love that part of that.
Yeah.
Of them. So Angkor is more than the temples, but it also holds medicinal plants that are used to help treat people in the village and even outside of the village. So they just use it for medicine. I don't know if I think it treats like some sort of diseases or even just medicine to help you feel better.
Yeah.
So that is also like a huge thing that they're like, we need to protect this because we don't want someone coming in and destroying this when we can help someone with it. So projects in restoration are also continuing, as well as the Buddhist faith. So there's still the monks there. They all have come together to keep this site alive.
Good.
So to keep this site alive outside of the locals and the archaeologists, events and tourism have become an important part of the site. Since the late 90s, a half marathon has been held at the site every year.
Wow.
And they even had one last year. I don't know if they had one. They probably didn't have one in 2020. I don't know if they had one in 2021.
Oh, yeah, probably
but
not.
Because of COVID, yeah. There is also, as we discussed earlier, the equinoxes with the sunrise. This grabs in a lot of tourists as it is labeled as one of the best places in the world to see the sunrise.
That makes sense.
That's where they get all, I'm sure, during probably May and then in September, November. That's when they get all the people.
Yeah.
So there are a lot of events to promote the Khmer New Year and keeping the culture of it alive. So tourism was hitting peak records well before COVID, as in 2019 had around 28 million tourists that year.
Wow.
A lot of people go here.
Just in 1 year, dang.
Of course, with COVID visits, this shot down tremendously, like all of their sites around the world. They were struggling. Everybody was struggling.
Yeah.
So luckily in the last year, the numbers are growing significantly, and it is hoped that the numbers will reach it around before COVID times. So Angkor and Angkor Wat is a true depiction of how something can be utilized for many uses and the beauty that can come out of it. With the help of visiting and experiencing the site, it helps with the preservation that many people are trying to protect. This is now on my bucket list, and I hope it's on yours.
Yeah. Hell yeah, it is. You just have random cards in your pocket.
This is my Costco card.
You just pulled that out of your pocket.
Sorry. I felt something, and I was like, what the fuck
You looked
is
at it
that?
so confused.
Well, I was like, is this my ID? I was like, I don't remember taking my ID out.
It's my Costco card. Oh, that was so cool. Oh
Yeah.
my God. I can't believe I didn't know this place existed. That's, wow.
I've seen this picture. I have seen pictures of it so many times, but I never knew what it was.
Wow.
But
now we know.
Yeah,
now we're going to go there one day.
It's like top 10 on most people's lists to visit because it's so beautiful and just serene. And it's just like in an area that's just not heavily, like overly populated.
Yeah.
So.
Wow, that was really cool.
Well, I'm glad.
I love learning about the new places, like the different places around. And
yeah, I thought it would be a good place to end the summer list of places to go. So
we'll do more next summer.
Oh, 100%. I'm already having my list lined up.
We got spooky season coming up soon.
I'm so excited.
Woo! Actually, this will be out when we're at Disney.
Oh,
so it will be in September. So we can start with the spooky spooks coming up here very soon.
Yay.
Be ready, y'all.
So where can you find us?
You can find us on Instagram and TikTok at Historia the Podcast. You can also email us at historiathepodcast@gmail.com.
Yay.
All right. Catch us next week for a fun one.
Ooh, yay. I'm excited.
It's very fun. Okay.
Ooh. Bye.
Bye.